In the foothills of the Rockies, two cities rise above the rest. An economic boom so powerful, Denver and Boulder are transformed.
This whole area was abandoned, and now it's ground zero for all the economic growth.
Denver now full of skyscrapers and new development.
Denver's going through the next great urban renewal.
Boulder's GDP has grown by 23% over 5 years, an increase of more than $6 billion.
I think you'd be shocked as to how much funding is going into this ecosystem.
Big investment launches two cities toward a high-tech future.
It's exciting that tech startups choose the Denver-Boulder area.
From the aerospace industry that skyrocketed 88% over the past 2 decades,
Aerospace has become a fulcrum of our whole economy now.
to an unprecedented crisis that brought more than 40,000 migrants to town.
Could you imagine that number?
That's much higher than what we thought.
And housing prices that are much higher too.
The key thing that keeps me awake at night is the housing costs.
Two cities on an unparalleled trajectory, facing challenges they've never seen before, while entrepreneurs, leaders, and dreamers all look to the future to rise even higher.
Hi guys.
And you can catch the full episode here on CNBC a week from today, next Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Really interesting example, Mike, of economic diversification away from things like energy and aerospace. There have been some challenges. The governor mentions real estate prices, homelessness, some migrant issues at play. But
Guys هلا بعد شوي حينزل الفيديو تبع MT4
is handling these weird curveballs that are coming in American cities.
بس عم بينعمل له بس عم بينشال منه الأول والآخر يعني.
The Denver to Boulder. I mean, it seems a little bit of a. Is it the new Twin Cities of some sort?
There is the highway 36 connects Denver and Boulder.
مين منكم بيتداول باي ذا واي؟ مين منكم؟ في حدا حكاني مان بشرفكم بشرف الله وحياة الله. انتوا MT4 بتعرفوا شو يعني؟ عن جد هلا. بتعرفوا شو يعني MT4؟ اوكي يعني بتعرفوا شو معناتها ليش اسمه MT4؟ NFA برو اوكي بس ليه اسمه MT4 مش NFA اوكي عن جد NFA ميتا تريدر اوكي ميتا تريدر مزبوط ميتا تريدر شو يعني هي الشركة يلي ميتا تريدر هي الشركة اللي بتعمل 100% ميتا تريدر هي الشركة اللي بتعمل السوفت وير اوكي هي الشركة اللي ميتا تريدر 4 1000% هي الشركة اللي بتعمل السوفت وير جايز في واحد بيبعت لي بيقول لي يعني عن جد اذا انت على اللايف برو وحيط الله سوري عم بقول هالشي يعني ما قصدي اتنمر عليك او يعني بس انه برو معقول تكونوا مفكرين انه اسمه متداول فور طب كيف انا بدي قال لي نزل الفيديو تبع المتداول فور طلعت هيك انا بركي عم بقرا غلط خيي بركي انه انا عم شوف شيء غلط بركي انه في شيء غلط بالله بعدين عم بطلع هيك يا خيي شو متداول فور برو انه على اساس انه كان في المتداول القديم يعني متداول 3 ومتداول 2 ومتداول 1 يعني ما بفهم انه انتو اوقات يعني في عالم اوقات خيي منطق انه شو متداول فور برو وحياة الله مان متت يعني سوري عن جد اذا انت عم تحضر ما بعرف اذا انت هون بس اذا انت عم تحضر ليك مضطر يعني سوري بعتذر منك وانا يعني ما بتنمر بس اتنمر بس لا كتير مثل هيداك شو اسمه ما بعرفه الزلمه يمكن يكون يصير شاطر بالتريدينج شو اسمه زيتونه سميه زيتونه بيقول لهم شو اسمه ايه يا الله شو كان اوكي الاس ام اي والاي ام اي سو الاي ام اي بتعرفوا اكسبوننشال موفينج افريج ما هيك الاس ام اي شو الاس ام اي بيسمي لهم اياه على اللايف بس يا ريت كان عندي التسجيل بيسميه سموث قال سموث موفينج افريج سموث اوبريتور. هي بنحط له ليترلي يعني سموث اوبريتور. بيقول له انا ما بستعمل السموث موفينج افريج. لا يا برو، سموث موفينج افريج انه اساس ناعم، الموفينج افريج الناعم. جايز كيف نهاركم؟ خبروني كيف نهاركم، كيف وحياة الله سيلار قتل مان. سموث موفينج افريج قال يعني على اساس ناعم، عرفتي؟ برو قتل وحياة امي، يعني عم بيعطيهم ادفايس على التريدينج. خي على القليل اعرف الكلمات برو.
With your CNBC News update, the Israeli military has called off all leaves and time off for all combat units. There are growing fears of an escalation with Iran following an attack this week on Tehran's
لا يا مجنون على القد هيك.
Syria. They've killed a number of senior military commanders.
طيب جايز خلينا نحكي شوي عن الماركت. اول شيء كرمال الكريبتو. اوكي كرمال الكريبتو بدكم تعرفوا شغله. كريبتو went through a consolidation month. اوكي ما يعني انه نحن خلص جاي الهالفينج بعد 15 days 15 يوم. اتوقعوا تحركات بال شو اسمه بالماركت تبع الكريبتو، وخصوصي on the level of altcoins. هيدا واحد. مع انه بالاي تي افس كنا at the lowest in matters of volume. اوطى فوليوم ممكن كان نشوفه لتحركات الاي تي افس يلي هن صناديق الاستثمار اللي طلعوا على البيتكوين. اليوم كانوا جدا ضعف. اوكي سو هيدي نمبر 1. اوكي بس لحظه. سو هيدي نمبر 1. خلينا نسمع بس دقيقه بوب ايجر. دقيقه خليكم تعالوا اسمعوا معي يلا. تعالوا اسمعوا معي يلا. حنسمع انا بدي اياكم تسمعوا نيلسون بيلتس. هيظبط لكم السيت اب. وين هيدي؟ ليكوا شو صار؟ اخبركم شوي شو صار مع والت ديزني. كتير مهم تعرفوا. كان في بروكسي فايت. شو يعني بروكسي فايت؟ يعني كان البورد في عالم من المساهمين مش مبسوطين بالبورد بالإدارة تبع والت ديزني، ومعتبرين انه المانجمنت الحالية لازم تتغير. اوكي فاللي صار انه صاروا يجربوا يجمعوا عالم ماجوريتي كرمال يجربوا يقلبوا الإدارة. اوكي فبوب ايجر اللي هو هلا بالإدارة بيسكلي كان عم بيحارب تيضلوا محله وربح. اوكي والمساهمين اغلبيه المساهمين عطوه حق لبوب ايجر تيضلوا بولت ديزني. فهيدا الشيء انا ظهرت من والت ديزني، حطيت لكم على تويتر. ظهرت at 122 لانه اعتبرت انه طلع السوق ما قبل. دائما وشو بنعمل we buy the rumor we sell the news. مزبوط. so انا I was technically trading the rumor انه in all cases والت ديزني حتصير احسن. اوكي فشفنا 122 وانا بعت والت ديزني، بعت ماي بوزيشن. I think I'm gonna buy back على 100 شيء هيك. اوكي فبس لتعرفوا انه بهيك حالات اوقات نقدر نعمل مصاري، وبنقدر نعمل عنا opportunities انه نقدر نعمل مصاري بالماركت بهيك بوزيشنز. بيكون في شيء اسمه شيء اسمه بروكسي فايت. اوكي هلا بدي اسمعكم انا بوب ايجر، بس خلوكم معي شوي. اوكي حدا منكم عم يتداول هلا على الماركت؟
200K is the consensus, and that would be kind of a Goldilocks number. And then you think about a number north of 275 causing concern.
شو؟
The job market remains too tight and wage inflation
أريد
remains a threat.
تتحدث
That's conditional
لنا
language.
في فيديو
And the
عن
uncertainty
حساب
about the economic
funded accounts ايه فيني
inflation.
اوكي
That's why the June rate cut probability is so volatile, now hovering
فينا ايه
around 63%, had been as low as 53. What I'd say is remarkable is this, how little space seems to exist between Trump and the Biden appointees to the Fed governor and between hawks and doves. Mike?
Steve, fascinating and great discussion this morning on Squawk about the Greg piece, which Mike and I watched together about the clash between the vibe and the data. Steve Leisman. After the break, another major CNBC exclusive you don't want to miss. Trian's Nelson Peltz will join us to discuss what's next for him after losing that proxy fight with Disney. Kramer's on deck. It's coming up after a short break.
هلا حياخذوا بريك ويرجعوا على ليحكوا مع نيلسون بيلز. كتير مهم الحديث. ليش؟ لأنه حتفهموا كيف هو فكر وشو الخطوات اللاحقة اللي حياخدها، لأنه هو كان عم يجرب يقلب الإدارة وفشل، فطالع هلا يفسر أنا شو عملت وكيف فشلت وكيف نجحت. فكتير مهم كتير 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 مهم إنه تقدروا تعرفوا تحللوا هيدول شو اسمه هيدول المواقف. أوكي، فهلا حنحكي عنهم. In the meantime في حدا منكم عم يتداول أو لا؟ كريبتو شو عم تفوت بيك؟ شو التريدينج الكريبتو اللي عم تعمله؟ هات لنشوف الكريبتو. انا شفت اللونش تبع زوس على اوكي اكس صراحه، كنت عم براقبه، ما فت فيه بس. وينه جابي؟ شو عم بيفوت؟ كريبتو فايتين بالحيط. يا خي كيف معقول تكون فايت بالحيط؟ يا خليل كيف بربك كيف معقول تكون فايت بالحيط يا زلمه؟ يعني ما بعرف انه منه ما في شيء مفاجآت بالسوق. بس فسر لي كيف معقول تكون فايت بالحيط؟ انا برات السوق من الصبح. احسن تور. في عندك الجوبلس كليمز. انا فت بي ان اي. اوكي كول هات لنشوف يعني عم شوف لكم شو في. هيك يمكن لانه انا بعرف تحركات كم وحده منهم من وراء البول ماركت القديم، من وراء البول ماركت اللي سبق. بقى فيني اشوف شوي الباترنز، يعني بتطلع بشوف انه اوكي هيدا مثلا منه كتير عالي، هيدا كتير، هيدا فيه تحرك. قالا بعد فيه بوتنشل. قالا فيه بوتنشل. يلا هيدا بوب ايجر.
Defending what the company and the board was doing, as opposed to defending myself against criticism from Nelson and the people who are backing him.
In the wake of Faber's interview with Iger, Jim Cramer's back on set with us with another special guest.
Yes, thank you so much, Paul. We've got an activist investor, or I think constructivist investor.
Long need على 6 بشو.
Nelson, you listened to the interview. Are
يلا
you a happy shareholder?
يلا
Are you a selling
يلا
shareholder for you, Trian, or for
ركزوا.
Jim, before we get started, I want to say thank you to a few people. I want to thank you to all the shareholders who voted for us. I want to thank my family and my beautiful wife, Claudia, for putting up with me through all of these campaigns. I try to do the right thing. I try and help companies do the right thing, and I'm not going to quit doing it. Now, what did you ask me, John?
I did ask you whether you are happy with what the events are in terms of the stock price, and you will try and, or if you can speak for Ike Perlmutter, stay long the stock, given the fact that there are some changes that have been put through, or is this the end of this campaign and it's time to ring the register and move on?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to discuss whether we're buyers or sellers here. I hope this is not a redo of last year where we pulled out, gave management a chance, and the stock went down from roughly 120 down to 79. I hope that doesn't happen this time. Whether we stay or not, we don't make those kind of announcements. I hope Bob can keep his promises. I hope they can do all the things they assured us they were going to do. And we'll only watch and wait. If they do it, they won't hear from me again. If they don't, Jim, you may be seeing me on your show next year doing this same thing again. So it's really up to management. It's up to the board. It's up to whether they do what they say they want to do, or if it's going to same old story again. Look, they've got to get a succession plan finally in place that works. Okay, we haven't seen one going back to 2011. They began talking about succession with 13 years from them, and they haven't come up with anything. They've got to get the margins up. They've got to get streaming right. They made a lot of promises, and frankly, as a shareholder, I hope they keep them.
Well, okay,
But
so
if not, we're here.
in Restore the Magic, your document, you say
Yep.
Disney claims that it has, and I quote, turned the corner and entered a new era, and you said it rings hollow for you. Any change, does it ring less hollow for you, given the fact that Bob Iger has came on with David Faber, talked about a number of changes that have been made already?
Look, I'm willing to give them the opportunity to prove me wrong. I'm willing to give them the opportunity to do as they say. The shareholders have voted. They want to give management and the board a chance. So be it. We will watch, like we did last time. We pulled out a year ago.
يعني عم بيقول لهم حيرجع يفوت إذا بأي غلطة من الإدارة حيرجع يفوت ويعمل معركة على الإدارة.
We've got a new set of promises, and I hope they keep them. And if they do, I'll be a guest on your show, probably talking about a different company.
Well,
But if they don't, you'll see me again, Jim.
Fair enough. Any company in mind right now that's a different company? You've got me thinking about, I know this is, I like to think a little forward too. Is there anyone disappointing you that you
I
think
know,
might be
Jim.
good to look at?
Jim, I gotta finish buying that stock before I can tell you who it is.
All right, some mystery there. Now let's talk about an article in the Journal which says Nelson Peltz's Disney Consolation Prize, a $300 million gain in a recent FT piece. The FT says Peltz likes to say that he'd rather be rich than be right. Were you rich and don't care about being right given the $300 million consolation prize?
Well, first of all, the number is wrong.
Okay.
Okay, the number is dramatically wrong.
A
We
billion?
did better than that, Jim.
How about 1 billion? Okay.
And that sounds more like it. And the fact is
سمعتوا شو قال له؟ أنا 300 مليون غلط. More like a billion. عامل مليار دولار من
we
هالحرب.
have to make returns for our investors. And then once we get on a board, that obligation moves to the board. But until we get on a board, we have to do what's right for our investors. And I think we've done right for them in terms of our investment in Disney. And that's what I say. I mean, if Bob's got to take it from here.
Did you, after getting ISS, were you surprised?
اداوا 170
Meaning
نقطة.
you had a proxy advisor say that you were the guy that should be on. Were you surprised that some of the index funds actually voted against you?
I was very surprised at that. And one has to understand why they voted against, because when you look at their
Nasdaq is
comments,
up, S&P is
their
up,
comments
Dow is
were
up.
beautiful. They were very complimentary. But at the end of the day, they checked the box, and you'll have to ask them why they did it. I've got my feelings, but I'm not gonna talk about it here on television, but you should ask them. I was very disappointed, to say the least, that after the beautiful comments and after the good meetings we had with them, they decided to vote against us.
I want to be sure about this. So in other words, you met with some of the index funds. There's only a couple very large ones. Did they say that they would vote for you and then change their mind?
They didn't, and I didn't say that. They didn't say that they won't tell you whether they're gonna vote for you when you meet with them, but they were seemed very happy with our meeting, seemed very positive about the answers we gave them. And, you know, look, I had 93 engagements, my people tell me, in this Disney proxy fight, 93.
Wow.
You walk out of the room and you say, that was a good one, or that wasn't so good, we missed a couple of points. But the fact is, when we walked out of the meetings with the index funds, I thought all three of them were very good. And so I was quite surprised that they didn't vote for us. And basically, them going one way or the other shifts these votes. And that's a big problem.
So that would be what Vanguard and BlackRock did not vote for you.
That's correct. And State Street didn't vote for anybody. They basically abstained.
Now, one of the
بلاك روك وفانغارد ما صوتوا له بالمعركة تبعيته طيق له بالإدارة.
Bob Iger to leave the board. You did feel that there were some board members that were not as strong. People seem to think that you had a dramatic loss against everyone. I don't think that's necessarily fair. I think if there had been some index funds that had gone with you, there would have been some board members who were out.
Jim, you're 100% right. I had no issue with Bob. There was a point in time that Bob and I used to meet socially. There was a point in time when Bob asked me to talk to his board, which I did after the Fox acquisition and where I thought the streaming business was going. And I did address them, and for I gather they had guest speakers in at every board meeting. So that, I had no issue with Bob. The only issue I had with Bob was the succession plan, which again is at the feet of the board, not with management. My issue in this fight was with the board. There's always trying to personalize these things, make it into something more dramatic, making it into something that it wasn't. My issue is with the board. I don't believe the board
thank you.
was doing their job.
It's very important
That's the
تحضروا هذا
problem.
الشيء.
If they did, then they would have had a succession plan that works. They didn't. And that's basically the proof in the pudding.
Did it bother you that there was very little repenting? I did not hear Bob Iger say, you know what, I personally recommended Bob Chapek. Bob Chapek did not do a good job. The board regrets that they picked Chapek. We try to do this over. We didn't handle ourselves well.
جايز جاوبوني إذا عم تفهموا شو عم ينحكى ولا ما عم تفهموا شيء.
Malice toward none, charity toward all, Lincolnian analysis that I'm offering.
اكتبوا لي بالكومنتس إذا عم تفهموا.
That would have been factual, because what we've been told on very good sources, that Chapek never even had an interview with the board directly. Now, I've been on lots of boards where we've had succession, and let me tell you, there are lots of small meetings between directors and the candidate.
Okay.
Lots of them.
مين كمان؟
And the fact is, I had one where the candidate wound up to be CEO, and I love the guy, and we're still friends. But the fact is, I couldn't vote for him because I only had one dinner with him 4 months before the vote with 2 other directors, and I said, I need more time. So the board gave me more time to be with them. I came back and was thrilled. But I was doing my job as a director. I don't think any of those directors did that. They all took Bob's word and they voted Chapek in. That's not what the responsibility of a director is. Bottom line.
understood. Now, let's talk money. There would have been a way to be able to make shareholders a little richer, which is just to say, you know what? He's one guy who's been around, knows a lot about business. Not necessarily, board members, I'm not looking for a board member to tell me about the movie Slayer. You weren't either. What you wanted is success. You wanted people who had a process. You wanted a board that was not yes people, because those people are actually quite good, as you have told me. Why didn't that matter? I don't understand why it didn't come down to the idea that, you know what, let's just let him on and not spend all these millions trying to stop him.
Jim, you're 100% right, okay? But you know what gets into the way of boards and management. It's that
yes.
three-letter word called ego. And when you get ego out of the room, great decisions are made. When you let it come in the room and dominate, you really have big issues. And ego became a very big part of this proxy contest. If it wasn't, there would not have been a proxy contest. There is no doubt that Jay Rizzullo and I were much more capable of being positive directors on this board than some of the other people there. No question. But the ego in the room didn't allow for it. And you've seen that over and over again, as I have. And once people get ego in check, good things happen. And I want to tell you, David Taylor at P&G, who they fought me tooth and nail, David Taylor never allowed his ego to get the best of him, and he and I wound up to be great friends. The company did phenomenally well.
مساء الخير جديد معكم هلا كيف نحن معكم خلال الوقت اللي كان رامي
لحظة، هيدا الفيديو خلص. يلا خليني افسرلكم شو كان عم بيقول. بعتقد هلا بده ينعمل له داونلود. بعتقد حينزلكم هلا ال MT4 باي ذا واي التريننج which is good. طيب خليني افسرلكم شوي شو معناتها اللي كان عم بيقوله. خليكم معي بس ما بعرف اذا نزل دغري، ما بعرف اذا نزل عندكم دغري او لا.
Let me tell you something. It always they don't want to hear what they don't want to hear. That we gave them so many people to interview.
Okay, anyway.
People who were against us coming on boards. And then
خايف افسرلكم شغله. ليش عم سمعكم هالشيء؟ يمكن انتم لإلكم انه بطيء الحديث وما عم بفهم شو عم بيصير وما بعرف شو، اوكي؟ انتم اليوم لازم هول الاشياء اللي بتطلع لكم مصاري. في اشياء اوقات منا حاسس انه هيدا محتال. ايه انتبه، هيدا جدا ذكي وتريدر معروف جدا، يعني بيعرف كيف يفوت بالشركات وكيف يتعامل مع الشركات. هول البروكسي فايتس اللي هن لما الإدارة بتكون عم تتغير وفي عالم عم يجربوا يغيروا الإدارة، بيصير في تحركات كتير كبيرة بالأسهم، فنحن فينا نطلع مصاري من وراء هول التحركات. هذا اللي عم جرب فصلكم اياه، اللي عم جرب حضركم اياه، انه يمكن انتم تحسوا انه في غريب، بس شوي شوي بتتعودوا تسمعوا لهيك حديث، لانه من خلاله بتقدروا تشوفوا انه اوكي انا اذا تابعت نيلسون بيلتس بالمرحله القادمه وشفت اي شركات عم بجرب يفوت عليها، بعرف شوي مين معه لنيلسون بيلتس ومين ضده، ومين حيدعمه بالبورد فايتس تبعه ومين ما حيدعمه. واحد تاني كمان بيعمل هالشغل هو شو اسمه هيدا، كارل ايكون. اوكي، كارل ايكون بيعمل ذات الشيء، بالاكمن بيعمل ذات الشيء. هولي لما بنشوفهم فاتوا بشركه او باعوا شركه بنقدر نفهم شوي كيف بدها تتحرك وبنقدر نستفيد. هذا اللي كنت عم جرب حضركم اياه وبدي اياكم تفهموه، فبدي منكم تحضروا هالاشياء. ايدوا عندكم فتشوا على كارل ايكون، احضروا انترفيوز لكارل ايكون، احضروا انترفيوز لبيل اكمن، واحضروا انترفيوز لنيلسون بيلتس. هولي اسمهم اكتيفيست انفسترز. اوكي، هولي اسمهم اكتيفيست انفسترز. شو يعني؟ يعني بيفوتوا على شركه، بيقلبوا الاداره تبعيتها، بيقلبوا المانجمنت تبعيتها، وبيجربوا يا اما يغيروا البرودكت يا اما يزبطوا البرودكت اكسترا. فكتير مهم انه تقدروا تشوفوا هول الاشياء. اوكي، هذا اللي كنت بدي افرجيكم اياه. حنطلع لايف بالليل نحكي بالتفاصيل، بس فور ناو بس كنت بدي احضركم هذه الانترفيو. هذا كان هدف اللايف. ف انا رح كمل. عم بعمل شوية تريدينج على الداو صراحة، فلنشوف شو بده يصير. لنشوف بعدنا بوزيتيف على الماركت. لنشوف. يلا بشوفكم عشية.